Welcome. This is Marty with FLIR Security's TCX Training Department, and we're here today to talk about setting up the FC Series ID camera analytics in the Admin Center application. So first, let's go ahead and take a look at the camera's interface itself, right? The web browser-based interface, and you can see that I'm on analytics, and I do have three different things set up. I have Area 1. I was using these on a different training video. I have Area 2, which is along the sidewalk right here that I've made myself. This is the freehand way to do it. We're going to see the same thing right in Latitude and see how we can actually do that from within Admin Center without having to come to the camera's interface at all. And just for the people paying attention, I do have a third region up there, right? It is a crosswire or a tripwire. Currently only looking in the right direction right now, and it's looking for humans and vehicles. So you'll see these are how the settings are set up in the web browser. What we want to do now is take a look at Admin Center and see how we can do it there. So as you can see in Admin Center, I'm going to come down here and let's take a look at the video section. I do have two different cameras in here. They are both analytics cameras, but this one that we're going to talk about today is our FC Series ID. This is a 4K box camera with the basic analytics installed in the camera. They are not the same as the ones we're going to take a look at right here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this camera. And you can see I already do have, just as we saw from the web browser, the three different analytics settings already set up in this camera. And what we're going to take a look at now is the difference between setting it up here in Admin Center and then setting it up there. They're very similar, same concepts. This one does have some further abilities, right, that we can use beyond just the analytics. And you can see right here, there is a thermal settings tab. And if you look over on the right-hand side, there's a couple of different things that, we'll talk about here in just a second. But I do want to point out that notice this thermal settings tab is only for this particular camera. If I come back to this camera right here, which is, of course, not a thermal camera at all, you can see that this is the section we normally would have had our picture settings at, and that's being phased out. So it's a good spot to use for that thermal link or that thermal tab that we now have. Also, you'll notice the analytics tab over here. Now, again, because this camera is an analytics camera all by itself or has analytics installed in them, you can see that it tells you right down at the bottom that the analytics rules for this particular camera can only be configured at the camera's web page. And that's how generally we're used to being able to do it. What we're showing here today is how we've made it easier for our customers using the FC Series ID camera to configure this stuff right in Latitude. So you can see on this camera, notice the video settings tab the picture settings tab is here, and the analytics, which is also here on the other camera, do different things. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're talking about. Now you can notice the analytics, right? They do show up down here, and they are listed there, so we might as well start there. Now, if I have two choices. I could either use the system-based settings, or I can use the web-based settings based on this button, and by default the web is the one that's on. In order to configure those here yourselves, and again we have the same exact settings that we had before, you do have to click it over to system, and you can see I do have the intrusion area 1, right, which is this one, intrusion area 2, which is what we talked about on the web browser. That's just looking for humans on the sidewalk. And then we had the tripwire set up in the web browser, only looking in the right direction, and it also is looking for humans and vehicles. Now, these are just the general rules. We can set up another one here if we wanted to. Like, for instance, I can click on tripwire here, and I can draw one across this way. And as it says down here towards the bottom, we want to use our right mouse to engage it. Now we've got an additional tripwire, right? Tripwire 4. Let's say we're looking for, again, just humans. And for this one, as you can see right down here, we do have a choice, right? We could have it just indicating things that are moving from left to right, things that are moving from right to left, or both. So for this one, we'll just go ahead and leave it at both. We come up here and hit save. And now you can see we do have our new trip line. I could also disengage some of these if I wanted to, right? So why this one, intrusion area 1, is listed right here. If I did want to get rid of it, I could trash can it. Come up and hit save. And now you can see that that region is gone, and we're just left with the other ones right here. Now, just for the heck of it, let's go ahead and take a look at that browser. And you'll notice now this still shows the actual image right here without the tripwire, but that's because we haven't logged out and logged back in again. So let's just do that really quick. Now let's go right back to our analytics setup. You can already see that it is missing, right? So there's really no need to go in there and take a look. So it does update coming from Latitude to the camera's interface. I just wanted to show that. And also shows our new tripwire that we've got over here. And if I went into the analytics, of course, which I might as well do it. And there you have it. With the Area 1 gone now, right, because we took it out in Latitude. And we do have the additional tripwire right here going in both directions. All right, so let's go back to Admin Center really quick. So you can see those are the basic rules, the same things we had in our web browser. If I go to the next tab right here, this is our depth calibration. If you've seen the analytics video for the FCID series camera, you'll know that we have two different options when we're setting these up. We can either do manual calibration, and that's what you can see right here, right? It's listed as manual, and when you do that, you get these two boxes right here. And basically what you're doing is when somebody walks by or an object possibly you put out here close to the scene, it's going to look larger in 2 dimensions than it does deep into the scene. And that's what this is basically reflecting. It's showing the differences in this sort of 2-dimensional size based on distance in a normal camera scene. And what you do is you just take this box, and when somebody walks by, you put this on the top of their heads, put this on the bottom of their feet, and then appropriately change the width, based on the size of the person. Very similar, right? These analytics are exactly the same as we do in the web browser. We're just showing that it can be done here in Latitude as well. And then the small box, of course, the person would walk deep into the scene. You'd put the same exact box around them there. And that would sort of teach the analytics, right, the difference or the relationship between distance and size of objects in your scene. Automatic is something that we also have, right? That requires you to send somebody out into the field, and then basically the system itself will start a counter up to 100%, and when it gets to 100%, then it'll actually give you, and you can see this in the other training video, right, on the analytics for the FC Series ID camera. And what it does once it's done is it puts a bigger box here in the bottom, a medium box in the middle, and a smaller box in the top to indicate that it is now figured out the relationship between distance and size. Now finally, the general settings, which is down here, right? This is where we set our sensitivity. Generally don't want to crank it all the way up too high, right? Because then everything shows up. And you don't want it too low. Of course, you're not going to be able to get the results that you want. Now, the show object detection, right? We can either do the classified boxes, and you're going to see that in just a second because I've got in Control Center, there's people with a dog that are about to walk right by on this sidewalk, and you'll see that it does classify the humans with the little H in the top and ignores the dog, right, because we didn't tell it to look for the dog. As a matter of fact, so we can either do classified boxes, no boxes at all, or all boxes. It all depends on what you want. I like the classified boxes better myself. Notice I can show lines or show regions, right? If you don't want to show the regions, you just uncheck the box, you hit save. And you can see now it's not showing the regions. Now this percentage up here is that auto calibrate that we just talked about, right, for depth calibration. It is set to automatic, and that's where you see this 0%. Once somebody walks into the field, or if somebody were to walk into this field in the live setup, that number would begin to go up, especially if they start going deep into the scene and then forward versus left and right, right? If you go just left and right, you're not going to increase or decrease your size too often. And that's what the automatic calibration needs in order to be able to get the right settings. All right, so I do want to show the Control Center, as I mentioned. I've already got the thing set up. Now, this is in playback, and that's why this region still shows here. But what you're going to see here on the left-hand side is a couple of humans walking a dog. And you're going to notice that the humans are identified as humans, while the dog is completely ignored because we've told the system not to look for anything other than humans and potentially cars. So I don't think I did cars on this section right here. So let's go ahead and hit play. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. There's the dog walking into my area of interest. And now the human, 2 humans, there it goes. It's picked them up as a human. It's now targeting them. And notice both dogs are being ignored simply because we didn't ask it to look for objects.